Good morning, guys. I hope your Sunday is going well. I'm going to do a little bit more Sunday grounding today. We'll do some breathing and some grounding exercises. And I wanted to go over grounding and let you know how that it is highly personal. So some of the grounding methods I may be using may not work for you. They may cause you extreme anxiety or maybe just be too much for you. But I would encourage you, it's kind of like a trial and error. So I would encourage you to try and figure out what things work for you. But first, before this, I was going to go over a little bit of why we ground. And we ground because, especially if you are suffering from PTSD or anxiety, if you have dissociation or flashbacks, grounding is one of the best tools that you can use to bring yourself back to the present, bring yourself back to the center of what's going on. Bring yourself out of that flashback, bring yourself out of the dissociation. And the more that you learn how to recognize when you're dissociating, the quicker that you can get to your grounding methods, and then the quicker that you can recover. So I wanted to share a verse about anxiety. I was trying to figure out something to ground us in the Word of God. So a lot of times, especially when I'm anxious or having a depressive episode or just completely unable to ground myself, it's very hard for me to hear positive biblical truths, like the words rejoice and the words righteous. Those are things that are kind of triggering for me. So as I was reading this today, I was like, wow, I don't feel like rejoicing today. I'm kind of burnt out from the week, and I don't feel like I'm righteous at all. But this is what Psalms 37:23 through 25. The Lord delights in a man's way, and he makes his steps firm. Though he stumble, he will not fall. The Lord upholds him with his hand. I was young and now am old, yet I have never seen the righteous forsaken or their children begging for bread. So that was really hard for me to grasp, that first part. The Lord delights in a man's way, and he makes his steps firm. Because if you're like me, if you've gone through trauma, if you've gone through a lot of work on trauma, sometimes it's like, really? The Lord delights in a man's way and he makes his step firm? But I believe that even when we don't delight in ourselves, the Lord still takes delight in us, and he does make our steps firm even though we may not feel like it. I like the next verse is exactly what I needed to hear after that. It says, even though he may stumble, he will not fall. So even though we may stumble, and sometimes I feel like I'm stumbling around a lot, I haven't fallen yet. Fallen in the sense that I know that he is never there, or I know that somebody around me is never there, or that it's all over. So though he stumble, he will not fall, for the Lord upholds him with his hand. I was young now, and I am old, yet I have never seen the righteous forsaken or the children begging for bread. In some of the versions, it says the Lord is joyful in a man's way, and I was like, joyful, rejoice? But I looked up what rejoice meant, and of course it means to be glad. And sometimes it's difficult to be glad, especially when there's things going on that we can't control. And it's like, Lord, you want me to be glad, but I don't know if he asks us to be glad in the things around us, but rather to be glad in him, and glad in who he is, and glad in his character, thus helping us to be glad in the person that he has made us. And then that word, that righteous word, the word righteous, that's I have never seen the righteous forsaken, nor have I seen their children begging for bread. And so I had to look up that word righteous as well. And righteous, morally upright, and I think we kind of all, are righteous, morally upright, virtuous. But then there was another part of the definition that I really like. It says absolutely genuine or wonderful. And I can relate to that part. I can relate to absolutely genuine or wonderful. So instead of the strictness of the morally absolute and virtuous, I can grab onto absolutely genuine and wonderful, because that's what I long to be, is genuine, and that's what I long to see in others, is genuineness. And wonderful is just, for me, it's an easier word to grasp, because wonder, it makes it curious. It adds an action of curiosity rather than a have to. So I just wanted to share that with you today, that the Lord delights in us, and He delights in the steps that we walk. He delights in who He has made us to be, and He has made our steps firm. And even though we stumble, He will not let us fall, because He holds us with His hand. And when I was young, and now I'm old, and I have never seen the righteous, or I have never seen the genuine and wonderful forsaken, nor have I seen their children begging for bread. So in this time of uncertainty, I encourage you with those words. Now, for our grounding, this is one of the things that I used to do in one of my yoga classes. So again, like I said, grounding is very personal. So you can use whatever methods work for you. But today I'm going to use essential oil, and the base is an almond oil. And then I think I have some lavender and patchouli and some other calming oils in here. If you don't have any of this at home, you can use olive oil, you can use coconut oil, you can use whatever you need to use. But I encourage you to, if you have essential oils, I encourage you to look at the bottle and make sure that if they need to be diluted or not with another oil. I've done this before with cinnamon oil. I used it just out of the bottle and it burned. So it's important to find if you need to dilute your oils or not. Anyway, so with what I would do is I would take some oil in my hands and I would rub it. Oh, and the dogs love it. Sammy loves it because it reminds him of group, huh, Sammy? And kind of would put it on my neck, but then here is the grounding part. Good. I would take some oils and I would begin to massage my feet. I would start with my toes. And if you have a dog licking you, no, you don't want to eat that. I don't know what oil is in that one. You don't want that. Anyway, starting at your toes and beginning to recognize maybe the tips of your toes, maybe how that's feeling. Maybe today has been so intense, you're not even feeling this right now. Or it's too triggering. Again, highly personal. Figure out what works for you. Then I'm going to work to the ball of my foot. Oh, and I can feel that right there. And then to the arch. Now the arch for me is where I feel a lot. And this is really super good self-care too, to give yourself a foot massage, to come in contact with your own body and to start to begin to feel connected. So I'm going to the arch, and then I'm going to my heel. Good boy. Go puppy. And then I'm going to go to my ankle and my calf. And working up there. Good. So as I'm doing this, especially the spot where I feel the pain or uncomfortable. See, I'm even trying to find the words to explain. It can be difficult, so that it's like a good hurt right there. So recognizing that and then taking it to the other side. So I'm going to take it to my other foot, and again starting at my toes. And it can feel good too, especially if your feet are cold. My feet are always cold. And then to the ball of your foot. And then to the arch of your foot. And this side isn't as bad as the other side. I don't feel it. Oh wait, just kidding, right there. And then back to the arch, and then back to the heel, and then the back of the foot, and then the ankle, and then maybe up that shin and calf. So this is a really good way. This is how I used to start one of my yoga classes. And I was like, I need to start doing this again. So you might be seeing this in further yoga classes, future yoga classes. So this is super good for grounding my body. I used the essential oils, I used the smell, I'm using the touch of my hands. And you're laying on this, I'm gonna move, good boy. All right, and I'm looking around. I'm actually too, when I'm doing the massage, I'm looking at the bottom of my feet. I'm looking at my toes, looking at the ball of my foot, looking at all my veins down there, all of my nerve endings down at those feet, kind of waking up your body right here. Okay, good. So that is one grounding method that I enjoy using. It's one of those ones that you, like if you're in the middle of, if you're driving your car, that's not something that you can do. But it's one of those things that if you're having a really stressful day, or at the end of your day, or at the beginning of your day, it's one of those things that you can sit down and do. Or if you've just done a yoga class or a workout class or a Bible study, something like that. It's something, give yourself extra 5 minutes either at the beginning or the end, and just begin to ground yourself. Recognize what's going on in your body by touching your feet. And maybe again using that oil. Another grounding method, so we use the smell here, but another one too is, say that you're cleaning the house and things are starting to escalate. I have a really good candle, and I have it sitting around, and if I ever need to just stop because things are starting to go to, again, dissociation or flashbacks, that sort of thing, I can stop and smell this candle. And this brings me back to, I got this from a friend, and so it brings me back to that. And it smells good. It smells very fresh and clear. Or if you are, again, dissociating, say in the kitchen, you've got the kids all around, or you've just had a fight with your spouse, or you're doing like the third load of laundry, or you keep doing the dishes. Another way of bringing yourself back, instead of getting deeper and deeper, go to your ice machine and grab a piece of ice and begin to just play with that in your hands, and it just melts very quick. Maybe do this over the sink, something like that. But again, this can bring you back. And it can wash your hands. So you can use the ice as well. And then another good self-care thing, I made myself a cup of tea before coming to do this. And making yourself a meal, or a cup of tea, or a cup of bone broth, or a cup of lemon water, giving yourself that 5 minutes to make yourself something that will soothe you is so important, and it shows such self-care as well. So, and this is really good tea. And you don't have to put any sugar or honey in it. I forget what it's called. I'll put it in the description of the video, but it's really good. It's like Bengal Spice, that's what it is. It's Celestial Seasonings Bengal Spice, and it's very good. And you can even add some almond milk in it to kind of do a little like fake chai tea sort of thing. But so there are some grounding methods for today, and I also wanted to share with you the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this may be easier too if any of these grounding methods are triggering, not working. You're like, none of this is working, none of this is helping, none of this is bringing me down. If you're mathematically inclined, maybe you can like count things, do your times tables. That can help too. But the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is look for 5 things that you can see. So right now, I see Sam, I see a dead orchid on my table, I see my Ugg boots, I see, let's see, and you want to find things like, because I see dirty dishes over there, but I don't want to go there because that is triggering to me. I see a bird's nest over here, and I see a pillow that I love. It says adventure everywhere. So 5 things, and those can bring you back. And you can spend time on each of those 5 things. And now 4 things to feel. I can feel my feet. I can feel Sam's feet. I can feel the flannel or the wool, the wool of this blanket. And I can feel the smoothness of the outside of this candle. Like the glass, it's very smooth. There's nothing hard there, smooth. So there's 4. And 3 things that you can hear. So I can hear Sam breathing. I can hear the sink dripping. And I can hear a neighbor's car. So again, I'm grounded now. I'm grounded to the present. I'm grounded to current breathing. I'm grounded to the dripping. I'm grounded to the familiar noise of a car. And 2 things to smell. So I've got my smelly candle, and then I've got my Bengal Spice, and that's really good. It smells all cinnamony, and it tastes cinnamony too. It's good. And then 1, the taste. And so again, I had my tea next to me, and this brings me back to cold mornings. Or sometimes I like to do this, put this as iced tea. I'll put it sun tea, and that's really good. So that reminds me, just reminds me now of the summertime and doing sun tea with that tea and having just loads of it all summer long. So find your things that can help you ground. And remember, a lot of times when I do stuff like yoga or this stuff, I'll have my eyes closed. You do not have to. That may be a trigger for you as well. Like I said before in other videos, these are just suggestions. You don't need to do what I'm doing. You don't need to do exactly anything that I'm doing. These are just suggested things, or maybe things to get your brain moving so that you can go and do your own investigation on. There's these websites on grounding, or websites on dissociation and anxiety, or mental health websites, that sort of thing. So I encourage you, if you've got that obsessive compulsive mind thing and you're having a hard time grounding, maybe look some things up for yourself. And if that doesn't work, go out and take a walk or do some jumping jacks. Get that excess energy out so that your brain can begin to settle. So I hope that you guys have a great Sunday. I hope that you are able to ground today. I hope that you are able to do some self-care today. And please remember that you are seen and that you are heard and that you are important. And then Sammy, he's sleeping right here. He's a good puppy, a good boy. says bye. Bye. Bye, guys.